If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube and membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here. Ha! It's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another Kicking It session. Today I've got Fred Cheney on with us today, Atari chairman and CEO. I'm going to have a great conversation with him. He's doing a lot of things in the blockchain and console gaming area. He's revived Atari. We're going to get into the whole story about the rebirth of Atari. Fred, how are you, man? Thanks for joining me today. And I see you're sipping on your little latte.
Yeah.
You got the cappuccino. I got my coffee here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Just some coffee, yes. With the, with the confinement, I think it's the same for everyone. There's no the line between work, personal life is just a little bit too blurred. So
yeah, that's not good, is it? You need that break. You need that go home from the office type of routine. At least I do.
Yeah, it's so you feel there's no difference now.
It was already bad though with the birth of BlackBerry, and when the company started doing that, you had to respond to those emails from home. But now it's like you're just working through the whole day. Like, how do you get through that work-life balance now with the kind of the lockdown?
Yeah, for Memorial Day, I was usually what we do, I always tell people, hey, it's Memorial Day, we can leave early. So we said 2 p.m. and I was about to say it because I had that kind of reminder. And we have, because of of the confinement here in New York City, we have a company calls twice a week just so that we can still feel part of the same team. And yeah, it's true that we were about to say, hey, it's Memorial Day, you can leave the office early, but it wouldn't make any sense. So I think it's a little bit, you'll see some consequences, what's happening. Of course, it's nothing comparable to people, dying because of the virus.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's just the new normal.
Yeah, so we're playing this David Guetta. I know you guys we're playing Titanium. You've got something coming up this Saturday with David, right? What's going on with that?
So this coming Saturday, David is playing online. Of course, he's doing a concert online. Atari is one of the sponsors. We're not the only ones. We're just one among many others, but we're very proud to be, associated to that. So he's just going to play online to raise money for the fight against the virus. It's a combination. He's French, just like me. So it's a combination of French associations, the US ones, and we also have the World Health Organization. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting.
Nice. So I kind of jumped into the conversation, guys, without really giving you a background of who we're talking to today. Fred is actually the CEO. He's been the CEO of Atari since 2013. And you have an interesting story about that because you came back to Atari because you had actually acquired Atari prior to that, and they couldn't make it happen like you, right? So they had you come back. Kind of tell us the backstory on how you initially came into Atari, how you sold it, your partner sold it, and then you came back.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I'll make it short.
Okay.
Because I could, write the 200-page book on this. So I was initially, I was a banker, I was an investor in tech, and we were advising some companies in France, and one of them was Infogrames. And in 2000, Infogrames bought from Hasbro. Infogrames bought the Atari brand among a big division called Hasbro Interactive. So everything that was internet, online games, video games. So Atari was part of the assets. The company was created in 1972 by Nolan Bushnell. Hi, Nolan is a great individual. So I just want to say hi. But the company, the brand finally ended up with Hasbro, and Hasbro sold it to Infogrames in 2000. I was part of the company. I came to the US in 2004 to keep the ball rolling. We were doing, something in between 700, 800 million euros of revenue every year. And then in 2007, we still had some debt. So hedge fund became the largest shareholder. We all left. We said, you know what, here's the water, electricity, gas, all the bad guys. And in fact, if you fast forward 5 years later, the hedge fund blew up. They went into liquidation and they put Atari into bankruptcy, into Chapter 11 in the US. So what I did at the time, they called me back, and what I did at the time, I bought back the company from France, which was the shareholder of Atari, and I made my way through the bankruptcy system here. It was a learning curve, and it took us basically 3 years to survive, put things back on track, because when I came back, the revenue were 1 million euros, and we had debt of 31 million euros exactly. So it's it was a very challenging situation.
Where was most of that revenue coming from? Just the brand, like licensing,
yeah,
the
1
Atari
million,
brand
yeah,
and stuff?
some T-shirts here and there.
Yeah.
So it took us 3 years to basically survive, to make our way through the different systems, the bankruptcy, the getting the debt paid back, and then 3 more years to really start regrowing the company. And so today, for those who've not followed, because it's very funny, every time I go here, I come to the US before the fast pass, but I would go through immigration and I would say, same question, what do you do here? I work for which company? Atari. And it was always the same thing. It was, oh great, Atari, really? So it was really that first moment of very positive news. Whoa, that's great. And then just immediately after, but what are you doing today, right? So
right. Atari doesn't exist anymore. You're lying to us.
That is it's like, oh wow, yeah, I remember. Is that Atari? The Atari? And then, but what are you guys doing today? So I'm going to answer the second question. And so we're still alive. Coming back from 1 million euros of revenue. Last year we made more than 20 million. So we do simple things. We do games. Of course, starting from scratch again. We do not compete against the very, very big boys. We were the same size, as Activision, Electronic Arts, all these guys 15 years ago, but now it's completely over. So we do video games, mainly mobile and PC game, free to play. So especially strategy games, simulation games. Roller Coaster Tycoon is one of them. Citytopia is another one. So games. Then we're launching a new console. It's called the Atari Video Computer System. So it's a computer. It's not a console. It's a computer system. 8 gig of memory. You can see it here. It's that thing. So we got hit by the COVID-19. China is definitely not back to normal. So yes, we still have issues with the supply chain.
Let's talk about that.
Let me finish what we're doing, and then so we do the console, then we do licensing. So licensing meaning basically people think about T-shirts, think about the toys that you can find at retail. So T-shirts, it's nice, but doesn't make a lot of money. The arcade gaming machines, the toys, that is a big money generator. And then the last thing we're doing is the token. So software, hardware, some licensing because it's easy to do as long as we control the products, and then blockchain and tokens.
Oh, that's awesome. And what made you, before we get on the whole COVID and supply chain and how because you're the CEO, you're kind of the captain that's leading this ship. I want to ask you a few questions on that topic. But what intrigued you or made you double back and say, I'm gonna grab and capture this Atari asset out of this bankruptcy? What made you do that? Because you guys decided to leave it alone initially years back. What kind of change?
We got kicked out.
Oh, you got kicked out. Okay. Oh, so this is like a FU to the people that kicked you out, right?
Yeah, but it's like we know better. So we're like, okay. The beauty that's the beauty of the system. You put the money, you have the shares, you have more shares than your neighbor, you run the show.
Right.
We were kicked out, and it was sad. But I came back because I've always loved the brand.
Okay.
And I think it's a brand that resonates with a lot of people. But of course, you do not launch the brand today like you would launch the brand 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. So the audience is older. We are less known with the younger generation.
Right.
But Yeah, it's a different play. It's really a brand that means revolution, entertainment, of course, tech as well, and kind of revolution slash disruption, because this is really for me the DNA of the brand. And it's a brand that is always positive. It's you can, everyone has their own favorite game, so that's why we do simple things: a game, a new computer system. It's really a computer. You have $300, you have a computer that has 8 gig of memory, and then licensing, and then blockchain, because I've always been a big supporter of blockchain and everything that's cryptocurrency related.
When did you first find out about blockchain, and who introduced you to that whole concept of Bitcoin and blockchain and all that good stuff?
The good thing of video games is that I don't want to say that the video game business has invented blockchain, because this would be incorrect. But I think because of the virtual currency in our games, we've always been used to digital currency. It's using some form of currency which is not a fiat into a game. So I think for me, it was like 5 years ago maybe, but it was more, I was not a big investor at the time, and it was just the beauty of the system that really struck me. So what we started in 2018, we kind of we were trying that we granted the license in 2018 to a team, but they were trying to do too many things at the same time, and we took back all the rights early 2020, and I'm really pushing the project.
So you guys are doing the whole Atari token in-house now?
Yes,
essentially.
Pretty much,
okay.
With some partners, but we are in charge.
Oh, nice. So let's talk about this COVID-19, the supply chain, and has this changed your strategy as a CEO as far as spreading your risks, as far as where your hardware is going to be manufactured going forward, or how are you being proactive now? Because this has caught most people off guard. Yes. What's your strategy now going forward with Atari and manufacturing?
So first we kind of became aware at the end of January. Okay. We smelled that something was wrong. By the way, we did a rights issue back at the time, because when I learned from the factory that they had been granted an extra week of holidays end of January, and instead of coming back, I think it was February 2nd, they would come back only, or February 3rd, they would come back only February 10th. For me, that basically triggered a lot of alarm bells. Yeah. So we made a rights issue. We finished it right before the collapse of the market in March. And so it has impacted the business in very, very simple ways, but very not dramatic, because look, compared to other industries, we are lucky. Don't get me wrong, we are super lucky. And on top of it, because we are very, as a company, decentralized, like we don't have internal studios now. Back in the day, we had 2,500 employees, 1,000 developers. So it was just very, big company. Today, all the studios are outside of Atari. We use third parties. The factory that does the console is not our factory. So for all these reasons, just because the business is online and because that we are very distributed, so to say, the COVID, we have not been impacted by the COVID-19 like any other industry. We have been very lightly impacted compared to the other industry.
But has this crisis caused you to pivot a little bit for the future?
Yes. Okay. So definitely, not your question. Yes. So for games, very simple. Priority has been given to the game that we could put onto the market now, not in 1 year, not in 9 months, but now, next month, or in 3 months. Definitely. Forget retail. We were only online and PC, but the priority has been given to even relaunching old games. Everything that was ready to ship, we put top of the list. So that's for the games. For the console, it's been not damage control, because the product was designed. But what we are seeing right now is that it's really a fight, so to say, a daily fight, not only us or against somebody, but it's the supply chain in China is not back to normal yet. So it means that 1 week you're told, hey, you have these parts, and then the following week you get a call, you say, you know what, you can have them, but you have to pay more. And then the following week is, oh, you want them? Of course, we have them. So it's a constant fight to make sure that you have the parts. And then, when you do hardware, it's very simple. You have a list of parts. You have all the parts you can build your machines. You're missing a part. You can't build the machine. Done.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that. So for the COVID-19, the impact on the hardware has been, of course, the delay because people were dying in China. So yeah, I get tweets like, "Hey, Fred, where's about the machine?" I'm like, dude, yeah,
come on,
dying.
You've been
in
living
China.
under a rock.
Don't tell me, but don't talk to me about the delay of a few months because here we're waiting for a computer. But I think the supply chain for us, at least, and maybe that's because we're still small, is not back to normal. So we have to make our way. And thank you for showing the website on the VCS. So that has really impacted the timeline, and the team is fighting. And until the moment where you have the store, the parts in house, until that moment, not anything can still hit the fan, and you can be taking 1, 2, 3 weeks of delay. So right now we have not announced the date. We're doing everything we can to have it this year, but we have not announced a firm date yet because we still do not have all the parts in the warehouse.
Well, luckily, you're not in this by yourself. Your competitors, if you want to call them, they're in the same boat, right? They're delayed, and so it's not like you're the only guy out there in the lake, trying to get to shore.
No. But at the same time, and I also want to thank all the backers from Indiegogo that have pre-purchased the machine. For them, it's their machine, and I completely understand that, and I fully support that. They have paid, they are waiting for the machine. They are like, Fred, where's the machine? I get that, and I fully accept that because otherwise, I would not have taken the money. So yes, it's we're not the only ones, but for the backers, it is their product, and we are just waiting for that very specific product, and I fully acknowledge that. And clearly, every day we think about that. So that has impacted the console, the Atari video computer system, the computer. And then you have the third business, which is licensing. And here, it's pretty much in flux in the sense that we have licensed gaming machines and toys. So right now, retail is not. That's not top priority for retailers to load on and renew some POs for our partners. Forget about T-shirts because no T-shirt is being sold at retail right now. That's pretty obvious, at least for us. So I think what we've experienced is more a delay in the deals being renewed and the new products being signed up. We think that it will catch up down the road, but holidays are holidays. Christmas is December 24th so far this year. Still, nothing has changed. So we may see some, overall, impact on the business of all, not only us, everyone. But
exactly.
For us, it's because we don't have the fixed cost. I think the impact will be limited because we've seen, some uptick, so we say, in the game business.
Yeah. So, I mean, where are we going with the, gaming, console gaming? We have Stadia with Google. They tried their hand at doing fully cloud-based gaming. We have the new PS5 coming out. I think Microsoft is working on their new console. And you kind of see a fork in the road where the two major players are going kind of more so hardware console, while you have Google going the route of cloud and leveraging their cloud system. And which direction do you think is the best for right now? Do you still think that hardware console model is a winning one? I like what you're doing because you have like a hybrid. You have a hardware, you've got the PC kind of part of it. Is that why you kind of went that way with your rollout of the new platform?
Yes. In fact, you clearly have two different models. You have the ones where you play the hardware games, so we say, and this is the Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo is a bit different with the Switch, and then or you play the software side of things. I think Google is playing basically software cloud because this is This is their business. This is their strength. So for them, it's just a delivery of services. Can they stream music? Yeah. Can they stream games? Yeah, of course. But it could be anything, right?
Right.
On the hardware side, you have different economics. You have different the dynamics, so to say. So for software games, I think Google for me, is more a competitor to Electronic Arts, Activision, because it's a service. You are offering something. In fact, they are fighting for the same thing, which is my time, your time. It's only 24 hours a day, but because now we multitask, maybe we spend more hours in social media and things like this. But they are competing for our time. When you play the hardware game is different. You want to sell as many units as possible to recoup your investment, and then they use it, they don't use it. Okay, it's better they use it, but at least the most important thing is to have your install base, and then after that you grow it over time. So it's very, very different. We are with the Atari video computer system. We are more in the hardware game, so we say, or the hardware business. So here it's true what you said. It's impossible right now for somebody to show up and say, hey, I'm going to compete against Microsoft or Sony in that console genre. So what we did, we decided to go more the PC, with a PC route, a PC really for the masses, and a PC that you could put in your living room. That's really, just like today you have two guys, Apple and call it Google/Android, that do control the phone business, right? You have two key platforms, so to say. You have two consoles, but I don't think today that there's someone who is offering a device that is in a lot of living rooms. So the plan behind, or the idea behind the Atari video computer system was to create a computer system very cheap, with a lot of memory and a lot of flexibility, meaning you buy it for $300, you buy a PC that has 8 gig of memory, but you can upgrade it, you can add more memory, you can install any operating system you want. We have what we call, it's based on Linux, but you can download
Windows 10, I saw, right?
So it's very, very flexible, but the idea behind it is to offer a machine that is nice, that is a computer, very flexible, and that can be in your living room. I was tired, for instance, but that was not the reason why we did it, of course. But I'm always tired, when I'm trying to go on Amazon Prime, or I have to take, arrow up, arrow down, left, right. I'm like, so I think what we're trying to offer is a machine, a PC that's in the living room, and you can play your Steam game, you can play Minecraft with your friends in your living room while sitting in the couch. That's what we're trying to.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a hit. I guess it's all in how a lot of the money, I would assume, is put into teaching the consumer, right, or getting them to grasp that idea. So I guess that's the hard part. I think that's a brilliant idea, and we'll see. We'll see how it works out. We just don't know how consumers will react to these types of new ideas. My wife was actually talking about, I told her I'm interviewing the CEO of Atari. She's like, oh yeah, I saw that. I wanted to buy one of those for our daughter. So yeah, we'll definitely have to look into that, because the PC component of it, to me, is where I think we could get a lot of use out of it in my household, at least.
We've tried to make it very hybrid, very simple to use, a computer system with a curated environment, like in a console. And in terms of content, of course, but first you can stream, you can go on the internet. So it's not a question of not having the content, but in our store, we also put a lot of blockchain applications. We try to basically make it the go-to place if you want to see the new apps or dApps in the blockchain space, and try to have some channels about blockchain. We love that. We support that, and we can afford to have to create a channel. So that will be definitely something. We're trying to go as simple and as broad as possible.
Yeah, and I like that AMD is just killing it. The processor company, they're killing it. That Ryzen processor you guys decided to go with. Why pick AMD over Intel?
It was a process, it was a almost 18 months ago. And initially we started with the prior generation, and we realized when they announced the new chip that we had to move and to transition over, and that was the right thing to do. It cost us like something to close to 6 to 9 months. But yes, you have to. It's a great chip. It's a great chip.
Yeah, it is. I've been.
No, it's at the end of the day. Even if you look at the machine and you're like, it's a computer, 8 gig for $300, whatever the price. It's it's a deal you want to look at. I'm not saying this is the best deal on the planet, because you can always find like great discounts on great machines, but I think it's a deal you want to look at.
Yeah, for $300, a Ryzen processor. I mean, if any of you know about hardware, that's a very good chip. Let's talk about blockchain. You kind of brought it up a couple of times today. I'm very impressed with this move you guys are looking to roll out. It's in pre-sale right now. Is it only to accredited investors, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about this Atari token.
Yeah, so the goal is quite broad, but the goal is to offer one utility token that can be used across the industry because of the brand. So it's really a project that relies on the brand, and is to offer a token that you can find use on as many platforms as possible. We could have said, okay, we're going to create a token, and that token will be used only on our platform. But in reality, it's better for us to use a token, to create the token, have it adopted by as many people, and then down the road bring our own use cases, or add our own use cases to the ecosystem. So it targets the industry. It can be used. The goal is that it can be used inside games or outside the games. So why? When I say this, because every time people would come to me, they would say, "Oh, you're doing a token that you can use inside games for microtransactions." Yes, but for me, the opportunity is much broader. So let me explain why. Yes, having a utility token inside games, that could be helpful for any game, PC game, or even crypto casino. We've signed with crypto casinos where we are working on our own crypto casino. But I think there's the story of blockchain and video games is broader in terms of business. First, you have today games that are sold onto the blockchain. You have today distributors of games on the blockchain. So we're about to announce that our token will be accepted as a mean of payment on some of these distributors. So from an individual to a company, you'll be able to use the token, not only inside game, but also outside of that game. Between companies as well. I think there's a big business that has started today, but that's just going to explode, is the sale of avatars, bringing an avatar from level 0 to level 30 and then selling it online to other players. I think that business is just going to grow for a lot of reasons. So that's something. And again, just to give you one example, today you have 4 billion people that are connected to the internet. Tomorrow you're going to have 8 billion people connected. When I say tomorrow, I mean in the next 2 or 3 years. For us, in the USA, in Europe, like making $50, $75, $100 because you have grinded the game, you've brought your avatar to that level, it's not going to make a difference. But when you are living in other certain countries, being able to make $50, $75, $100 like twice a week, it starts to make a difference. So you will see a lot of people that will be able to make a living in the industry, doing testing, doing translations, grinding the games, mining the games. You will see people are going to self-teach, right, or self-learn a lot of stuff, like doing little animations, environments, drawing. So you will see a lot of people coming online, and I believe that because they like the industry, these people will be trying to make a living online in video games, and you can see it already, but I think it's going to grow more and more. So this token will be also available on smart platforms, and you see some of them already, right? Let me give you an example. Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch is a game that we publish. It's developed in Montreal. but testing is sometimes done in Montreal, sometimes in India. You have artists all over the place. 2D artists, 3D artists. You have people doing environments, little animations all over the place, I mean, all over the world. If I have a smart platform where I can contract these guys with a smart contract and pay them with a crypto, it's much, much easier. But this is today the reality of our industry, and it's going to grow exponentially because you're going to jump from 4 billion people online to 8 billion people online. That's a major trend that's arriving. And all these new guys, these 4 billion, I'm oversimplifying, huh? Don't get me wrong. Don't take me up on 4, because it might be 3, but I'm just giving you the trend. Mm-hmm. These new guys or girls or women, or they have no ID. Most of them have no physical address, or at least they don't have a physical address that you can check. It's impossible for them to have a bank account. Right. So they will need crypto to just make a living. And they will use crypto to make.
I agree. But my thing would be, Fred, my pushback is why, I know you're watching it closely, how the SEC is really coming down on a lot of these companies that have tried to do ICOs in the past. What steps have you taken to kind of mitigate that risk from the SEC and them trying to get into the whole Atari coin issuance? Because that's where I see the issue.
We're following the rules of Gibraltar. Where the project is run out of Gibraltar. We're just following the rules, and it's a very, very long-term play, right? Mm-hmm. We'll go country by country where it is possible to do so, and this is not a hit-and-run project, so we'll take it as it comes.
Right.
If it cannot be used in the US, we'll see. Then it will not be used in the US. Right. I think you just deal with the facts, and you just go step by step.
But like you said, though, I think the most utility is going to be in third world countries and countries where they can make a living from doing this. That's a beautiful thing if you can provide that type of rise in living standards just off of someone's passion.
But you see, today we make more revenue in Thailand as Atari. I mean, not as Atari, but I have a couple of games that I created, when I left Atari in 2007 and I came back in 2013, I invested and I produced some games. Today, if I look at these games, we make more money in Thailand than in France, for instance. So you have more players today in Thailand than in France. You have more players in Malaysia than in other countries, right? I can tell you we have more players in Malaysia than in Italy. Right. So I think right now you have, if I just react to what you've said, I fully agree, is that because you, me, most 99% of the people listening here, we live in a country where we have an ID, we have a social, we have a bank account. Why are we going to use a token? Doesn't make any sense. Because it's still easy to make wires. It's going to be more difficult when you're going to have higher fees, and then you're going to see it's going to cost you a lot of money to maintain your bank account.
Right.
But we are an exception in terms of numbers. We are not an exception today in terms of value, because the value of the markets here in the USA, Canada, and in Europe is much higher than in other countries. But think China, it's a completely different story, right? So I think that in terms of numbers, we are an exception, meaning you, me, we have a bank account, we have an ID, we have a passport, we have a social. It's not the case most of the time.
6 billion other people on the globe doesn't, right?
So I don't. At the same time, I'm realistic. I'm not going to say, "Oh, Atari is going to save the world," because
right. That whole total addressable market spiel.
This is way beyond my pay grade. That we're just trying to be humble and saying we believe that there's a need for a utility token in the industry. We're going to work on it. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to work 24/7 on it, even maybe more than 48/7, because it's multitasking every day. But I think it's worth the try.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you touched on Roller Coaster Tycoon. That was the game that really got you guys back on track. Tell us, was it just like a fluke and you just kind of caught on, or did you guys spend a lot of time and focus on this game to make it successful?
So it's a
Give us a little
game.
backstory on the whole Roller
Yeah.
Coaster Tycoon.
No, so it's a game first that is that has been created and that is a property of Chris Sawyer. So I'd like to salute on this podcast. So he's the creator of the game.
Okay.
The license has been with Atari for since 1997, 1998, something like first Hasbro, then Infogrames, and Atari stayed with Atari. So when it was a big game in the early, like 2003, 2004. There was a PC game that was the first one was in 1997, number one, then number two, then number three. And then when I came back, we decided to relaunch the brand. We tried first on PC, but the market was very, very different and from what we had anticipated. So we moved to mobile. The first game was on mobile was Roller Coaster Tycoon 4M for mobile. It was in 2017. I think we exceeded 30 million downloads, between 25 and 30 million downloads today. And yeah, and then we made a 3D game, and then we have like different spin-offs of the game. I think these games are pretty cool because it's a simulation strategy. There's no blood. It's you take your time, you grind your way. So that's a 2D game. It's and when I've always been quite comfortable with this franchise. I know pretty much the ups and downs and where the traps are.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a very good studio working with us. We were able to find the audience online. So yeah, it's a big contributor to the return of Atari. But it's just like in any other game, you have to listen to the community. You do the right things. Sometimes you make some mistakes. Each community is very vocal, so we try to. Well, first we read as much as we can about the comments, mm-hmm. and we try to take as many of them into account. It's impossible to take each comment into account because they contradict each other.
Right. No, what do you think is the next Roller Coaster Tycoon?
So we have an idle game that is being rolled out. That will be rolled out on the Facebook platform during summer.
What is it called?
Roller Coaster. For the moment, we call it Roller Coaster Tycoon Idle.
Oh, okay. No, I'm saying, do you guys have any other titles that you think may see the type of success that Roller Coaster Tycoon has seen?
We have two. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we have two. One is we've soft launched the game this week. It's Atari Combat Tanks and Puzzles. So it's a combination of a match 3 game and a combats of tanks. The game is being soft launched as we speak in the UK. Yeah, in the UK. And we're shooting for a soft launch during summer, as early as possible, very likely after the 4th of July. But it's a mobile game, free to play, a combo of Atari match 3 game and combat of tanks. And there's another one which I like a lot, which is called Mob Empire. It's back to a simulation game. You, instead of building the park, here the city has been built for you, and you have to, by placing smartly some stores, some and liquor stores, some casinos, some underground poker games. You have to control the city, and you have to make your visitors as happy as possible, and you have to take as much fun as possible from them. So that's Las Vegas.
Oh, that sounds good, man. That's exciting.
Mob Empire. So, but the first one, Atari Combat, is Tanks and Puzzle. It's in soft launch in certain countries, the UK for sure. Worldwide launch will be sometime around July 10, 11. More to come about that. And Mob Empire is being soft launched as well.
Okay, so I've got a question from one of my YouTube chat room members. He says, what's your plan to push? I think you kind of answered this, but I'm just going to ask his directly. What's your plan to push adoption for Atari Token? Will it be used as a currency in current games available on Google/Apple, or will they have to be newly released games in Sandbox that are in Sandbox? How is that going to work when you do finally release the token?
For the moment, that will have to be discussed with Apple and Google. This is not part of the main roadmap inside the games.
Gotcha.
There are many other ways to use the token inside games without going on mobile games. So it's not part of the initial roadmaps, and that will require more conversations with Apple and Google. It's more PC for the moment. PC, everything that's MMO. On PC, that's really the top priority right now.
Nice. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, Fred. Is there
So much.
anything you want to leave the audience with? Is there something that you can give us an inside track on, and what's going on over at Atari you haven't really shared yet?
No, I think that's why I love the podcast, because frankly, you see me. Look, just everyone should know that yes, we work like crazy because we all love the brand.
Yeah.
We read as much as we can about the comments, do this, do that. Some comments are really, if I do this, I can't do that. At the end of the day, we try to read as much as we can. It's very difficult for us to try to please everybody, so we have to make some cuts. We have to say, we're going to do this. Sometimes we make mistakes. It's just a very long journey, and it takes time. And I think, when you've not done this for a living, when you just see that from the outside, it looks like sometimes very difficult, but sometimes also very simple. Like, oh, why don't they have the class? Why don't they have this? It's at the end of the day, it's always a question. You need to have the good developers. You need to have the right people. Yes, I make mistakes. I have made mistakes. Things are going to still hit the fan. But what I can just assure everybody here is that if something hits the fan, I will be here just to clean it up with the team. And we love the brand. We do the best we can. People don't imagine how much the team is working. So for me, it's really a pleasure to be back and to make it back to life, so to say. It's really a brand dear to my heart, but I couldn't do that without the team. And sometimes I think given the amount of work that the team is putting in, I just would love to thank the team. And sometimes I have to tell the team, don't read all the comments, because I know you've done everything you could.
Right.
And sometimes
the internet can be brutal, man.
Yeah, but that's we accept it. That's the nature of the beast. Me, I'm a little bit more, detached, we say, from that. But I know that for certain team members, and that's why I'd love to thank all the team members here. Some of them, they really take that, when you've worked for 9 months, 12 months, 15 months on the game, on the feature, you've really, struggled, you've done everything you could, and you think you've nailed it, and then you see a review which is, dude, so easy. Why? Why is this like that? That's stupid. And so sometimes they take it too hard, so to say, for themselves. So I really would love to thank the team and just tell them that we keep the ball rolling. We do our best. We love the brand. We read each review. We love every fan, whatever the nature of the comment.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the brand was born in 1972, created by Nolan Bushnell and his friends. So again, thanks to Nolan. It will be, we were in the first Blade Runner. We were in the second Blade Runner. Mm-hmm. If there's a third Blade Runner, I hope and I'm sure that we'll be in that third one. So yeah, the brand will be here. It's just like it's a great brand that everyone knows. It's not going to disappear. And I can just tell everyone that we're doing everything we can just to do our best, and we're doing our best. It's a 24/7 exercise. Don't get me wrong.
I'm sure. So, like everyone else with these Zoom calls, everyone is doing nowadays. I know people are doing getting their creep on, looking in the background in people's backdrops What is that guitar there, man? That is a hot looking guitar. Is that
Yeah,
actual art or is that a real guitar?
no, it's a bass guitar. Bass guitar.
Bass guitar. So do you play?
No, no, no. This one, the electrical system is out, so it was a sample that was used for a project, and it just happened to be.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, I had to ask because I was looking at the whole the whole
Yeah, yeah, but it's
interview.
funny because I don't have, I may be standing in my pajamas, but
Right, right.
I think we've all learned. Like, look, if today you do not know how to use Telegram, WhatsApp, Zoom,
Right.
X, meet my whatever. Yeah, I think now I must have, I don't know, I have to check my phone, but maybe I have 20 apps here between
Yep.
Zoom and so it's incredible because you're like, where do we meet? It's like Zoom. I mean, you have like 10 WeChat, you have 10, 12 options.
Right, right.
Even my parents now, they can multitask and they just told me the other day, oh, no, we just sent it to you on that app. And it was like, what is that? About 80 years old. So you're like, okay, yeah, it's, yeah. I think more seriously, I think that period of COVID-19 will just leave a lot of, it will have a lot of impact. And I think, more and more with people who want to work from home or work differently. And it's the first crisis like this, right? I think that it's not the last one. You're going to see maybe more in terms of a pandemic, or you'll see also some climate crisis, right? Like a wave of pollution, something like so. It's if you really take a deep breath and you look forward, you see that's a new normal. We all hope to come back to the life or life before, but I think we're also learning that we have to adjust. And there are things I'm going to do right now in my home once this is over, just to make sure that next time, because I think that I want to prepare for the next time.
Right.
I'll do a few things differently.
Yeah, I think we all will. Hope your parents are safe. Are they in France or are they here in the States with you?
No, we're in France. It's
okay.
Look,
right.
Even like transcontinental traffic is basically not shut down because you have like 3 flights from Paris to New York City a week. Africa is closed down. We have teams in Kenya. We have a casino business in Kenya.
Okay.
You can't go there.
Wow.
We make it through, but thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. And guys, tomorrow, David Guetta.
Yeah, thanks for David. Thank you. It's
make sure you guys check that out.
Or at least retweet. So if you don't have any money, what you give, no problem. But if you could just retweet, tell your friends, maybe one of them could help with 5, 10, whatever amount of dollars. That would be nice.
All right, we got Fred from Atari, chairman and CEO. Great conversation with him. If you guys like this interview, kicking it session, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more interviews like this. We're out of here, people. Holla!
Thank you so much. Stay safe.